Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So if you think the Democrat panic couldn't get any worse, they are currently just in a downward spiral. Not only are the talks resurfacing about replacing Biden, and a lot of Democrat senators are coming forward and saying that he probably should step down or step aside for Kamala Harris, which probably wouldn't even help them at this point very much. But things are really getting bad. They're now saying that New York is a battleground state now. These are not Republicans. These are not Republican internal polls. These are Democrat internal polls. These are Democrats that are worrying about the state of New York. New York, Joe Biden won New York State by 23 points, and even then Donald Trump overperformed expectations in his 2016 margin in New York City. Yeah, upstate Biden did better enough to offset it, so it's not like Trump really made a noticeable gain in the state, but times are changing. Tides are turning. People are fed up with the border crisis in New York City, and seems like a lot of the upstate gains Biden may have made, well, seems like there's a lot of buyer's remorse. And Republicans were able to get the House in 2022 in part because of Lee Zeldin's overperformance at the top of the ticket. And Donald Trump, just likely improving a decent amount in the state of New York, probably could keep a lot of those House seats, but Democrats are running behind their 2022 margins in a lot of these districts, a lot of these places, and it is a big, big problem because already before the debate, the polls were not looking good. You look at the polls before the debate in May, Joe Biden up by 7 in Emerson and Joe Biden up by just 8 points in Siena, which has really been a very accurate pollster in the state of New York. You want to look at the final polls that we saw in 2022. Siena, their final poll that they released even then, was a little bit overestimating Hochul's final margin, although it was a few weeks away from the election. But Emerson pretty much got it right. They had it at 8 points. The final margin ended up being 6 point something at the end of the day. Yes, 6.4% ended up being the final margin, which was underwhelming, but that's a statewide race. It's typically easier to win statewide of a state of the opposite party than it is the federal race when you look at this. And that's kind of the major problem that they have here. But Joe Biden, not exactly in the best position. Chuck Schumer today said that he's with Joe. How's that exactly working out for him? Not too well. Apparently, he's allegedly said different things behind closed doors, and that we know. But either way, these districts that we're seeing here, when we talk about some of these polls, they're saying in some of these swing congressional districts that Republicans ended up flipping, Joe Biden is down by double digits in these places, which is just insane because you're talking about districts that Biden won by double digits. And now he's losing them by double digits. That's a 20-some point swing. If you see that across the state, and maybe a little bit more than that in some areas, yeah, that would be enough to flip the state of New York. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I think it's not a high priority state. I think we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves or be complacent, and we still need to be locking down Pennsylvania, locking down Michigan, locking down Wisconsin. But the fact that we're even talking about New York with 4 months to go is insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's just a testament to how bad the Democrats are in terms of the position. This administration, Joe Biden is not really generating a lot of enthusiasm at this point. He will get people out to vote for him that are foaming at the mouth anti-Trump. But here's the problem. It's not 2020 anymore. You can't make the election a referendum on Trump. And even if you try to do it, if it would be a referendum on Trump versus Biden, a majority of Americans would prefer the Trump presidency to the Biden presidency because by every metric, things have gotten a hell of a lot worse. Aside from COVID recovery, which was slowed by these Democrat governors, and Democrats don't really have the upper hand on that, so they really can't touch base on that as like a winning topic for them either. So either way, what do people care about now? They care about the economy. They care about the border. They care about jobs. They care about inflation. They care about how we're performing overseas, and all of that is just out the window. And then Biden's big scandal is looming, the whole cognitive decline that was seen on the national stage that Democrats can't gaslight the public on anymore. They can't run from it. They can't hide from it. It's out in the open. The cat's out of the bag, and there's nothing that they possibly can do at this point. And even in districts that they won by a substantial margin, Biden's losing them. And down ballot effects are brutal because in presidential years, it doesn't really matter how much, candidates raise compared to midterm years or special elections where that's a really, really, really big factor when turnout is lower. But when turnout is higher because it's the presidential year, you have full turnout, everybody shows up and votes. Typically people that vote for Trump that don't vote in midterm elections or special elections, they're going to be voting Republican down ballot as well. And you're not going to see ticket splitting be where it was, especially due to polarization to the point where Democrats could be bottoming out. If Donald Trump is running close in New Jersey, there's no guarantee Democrats could even win that Senate race. And I'm not saying that they're going to lose it. I still have it as likely Democrat as of now, but things can change. And when we get more polling, more data, these things will change even more potentially on our prediction maps. And just what we're seeing is insane. I mean, it is true it's going to take a lot to flip New York. If you doubled up the shifts we saw in the New York City area and Long Island from 2020 to 2022, it still would not be enough to get Donald Trump within 10 points in the state, but that doesn't take into account upstate. If he's really going to gain everywhere, Biden's just going to bottom out everywhere. Yeah, it's entirely possible that you could see the state be a battleground, as they say, but the fact that you have Democrats that are saying New York is a toss-up, they're a battleground, that's insane. I mean, this is like what we saw in 2008 with Indiana, in a way, because that was a state that was solidly Republican, but due to certain circumstances, Obama was able to flip it out of nowhere, and eventually it went back to being a safe red state. And who knows if that's really going to be the case with New York, given some of the recent data that we've had, but another, 27, 29 electoral votes in Donald Trump's column. Could you imagine the beatdown? He'd be closing in on 400 electoral votes at the rate things are going if he was able to pull it off. And honestly, I think part of it's the indictments. Part of it is the lawfare, because you have a system in New York that has gone after Trump. They've made it a point, we're going to get Trump. That's their priority. But then you have crime out of control, but they don't want to prosecute actual criminals. They want to, trump up some charges and spend years investigating Trump so they could maybe get him on a technicality when he runs for president again against Joe Biden. And then you have Joe Biden's third in command at his DOJ. They put him in the office and then boom, Trump gets indicted. Trump gets convicted. And who knows what's going to happen next. But people are waking up when they see this kind of stuff happening. And it doesn't exactly make the Democrats look good. They thought that they could use that as the Trump card, and Trump flipped it around in an Uno reverse on them spectacularly, like he usually does. And they don't know what the hell is going on. But Democrats are still in a hell of a lot of trouble when you look at this. Biden facing a competitive race in deep blue New York. Probably you will see the closest margin since 1988 regardless. I mean, Trump, personally, I still think that it's going to be a very difficult state for him to win. But, I mean, the fact that we're even talking about maybe putting it in the likely Democrat column is just insane. It's insanity. And Biden's campaign fundraising, right when he is struggling compared to Trump, right when he has less cash on hand than Donald Trump, his fundraising is taking a major hit. It's already been disastrous, they say. The money is shut off. Donors don't want to give money. They're not sure he can win. People aren't going to really back a losing horse, even if they agree with him. And while TDS is something that is out there, it's not what it exactly was. And even then, it was already, 45% of the country. If Biden gets only 45% of the popular vote, Donald Trump probably gets around, like 48, 49. He's going to win in a relative landslide by today's standards. The swing states are not even going to be all that close. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin will go to him by, over 100,000 votes each for sure. Pennsylvania possibly by 200,000, who knows? But donors just think he's crazy. Biden's like, read the polls, Jack. And it's like, yeah, the donors don't know what the hell he's talking about. And you have a bunch of incompetent people around the president. We heard about how competent the Democrats are. And I mean, we shouldn't underestimate their turnout apparatus, even though it's overrated. But still, there's so many people around Biden that are just super incompetent and are super delusional. And let them be delusional. Let them be delusional. Let the money dry up. Let them try to say, oh, well, we're the real campaign against the elites because nobody wants to give us money. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's totally going to work out well to Biden's advantage, but it's not even working out well in terms of them being able to confidently say that they're going to, hold a state that they won by 23 points. And at this point, if New York is close, there's no way that Biden's going to win Pennsylvania. I mean, New Jersey is going to be closer. Even Biden's home state of Delaware likely gets closer. Connecticut gets closer. I'm not saying Trump's going to win all those states, but I mean, this election is not shaping up to be one where Joe Biden really has a very good chance of winning. And we still need to get out and vote and not be complacent, but, take this as momentum because this is just more good news. Democrats are infighting. Trump doesn't even have to lift a finger, and he's gaining up on Biden. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.